I have an Express server, Node.js Express server. Import Express from Express, and then I have some setups for body parser, Morgan, cores, and here I start a server, app equal Express, and then I use cores, JSON, and development mode so I can record some logs. It's a very simple application, so I return a new promise and resolve over here. I start a new server by calling app.listen at the port. So, and then I resolve the server. So here I have the routes, setup routes. I provide a simple endpoint for health check. So this one is very useful when we deploy to, for example, Kubernetes or anything. It is just like return a ping endpoint. App.get ping and return pong. So, and besides that I have other routes. So I have, for example, I set up a router to post, event, answer, DTMF, and conference, and here I have a controller to handle the answer at this endpoint, post / answer, handle answer. So that is my setup. And how do I test my controller application? So let's go to handle answer, and here it has it take everything from the request.body, and it is extracting the UUID from the event in the body, and after that it is going to await a request that is going to fetch by this UUID in the database. So this is where the database fetching occur. And just take a note. So here are the rest of the controller. So we have a call config, and then an NCCO. How do we want to get an NCCO? And then here we return a result, and then we send back the NCCO back. So this is the handle answer controller. So back to my router and my route, initial route, and here is my server. So I want to write a very simple how do I write a test for my server. So by returning the promise over here, I can start by writing the server.test with some initial code like this. So I have import Axios from Axios, and the code to start the server, and here's the config. I will call jest.unmock Axios. So I want to call the real API of Axios. Before all, I want to call an async function to start the server. I'm going to listen to the server, listen to the status of the server, and whenever I have the server available, I'm going to set the base URL of localhost and the port, and then I'm going to assign the API, that is axios.create, and the base URL, that is pass2. And after I finish running all of my tests, I want to close the server. So let's start by writing our smoke test. It is going to be also an async function. We want to fetch the data by awaiting for api.get and the endpoint of ping. After that, I have the response. I will return the response.data. So I'm going to expect that the data expect. No, how do I disable this? Expect data to equal just the POM. So that is how I'm trying to just run the smoke test. And I'm going to run this on my terminal. By saying yarn test, I'm going to pass in the source test and then server.test.js. So it is going to start the server, listening to the request. And here I have the smoke test that is passing. Okay, so the next step is that I want to test we want to test the handle post answer request, right? And it is going to be also an async function. I'm going to write a response, and it is going to wait for the post to the slash answer, as we can see in the route. So again, let's open the route. So we have this post answer. So based on the base URL we have here, the base URL, we have axos.create the base URL, and then we can call api.post on answer, and I'm going to put in some request body, and the request body is being used in the controller in order to request.body is an event, so it has an UUID, it has some information about this. So I'm going to set an UUID as some UUID. In the real test, maybe we have to pass in the real value, but over here I'm just going to omit the real value and going forward. So I'm going to expect response dot status to be 200, and let's see if my test is still passing. I'm going to pass the -u because so handle smoke test, it is failing. Request fail with status 400. I have this payload, UUID level message and the answer error, reason request to Prisma fail, reason okay, yes. So it is right. Why it is fail? Because in the controller I'm going to have this a wait for network request. So here it is a Prisma, so we can see this is the get leg request. I'm going to open the get leg request. It is going to fetch from Prisma GraphQL command. So here it is trying to fetch from the database prisma.graph.ql and get leg query where the UUID is equal to the UUID that we are passing in. So it is correct that we have the failure of the test. That is the whole point of this talk. I want to share how do we test our backend of the controller. So handle answer, so we can see that it is now going here, it is calling the data, calling the request, but it is failing. So again, I want to make sure that I'm failing right here. So in the last video I already showed how we can debug our Node.js application, but today I want to also demonstrate how do we debug the JavaScript testing with Jest. So our command to run is Jest. So as you can see, it is yarn test and the source, right? Over here, so we have yarn test and the source test and server.test.js. So what does yarn test do? Let's open the package.json. So the test command, it is simply doing the test. Jest, it is simply calling the Jest command. So back into why the test failed, we can see that here we have the connection to database, and we have the fetch from database. But because our server, when we start the server, we start only the server without the database server. So as we can see from the Docker Compose, we have the server here that is running. We have the server, and in order to start the database server, we also have to start Prisma and also Postgres database. But we don't want to spin up also Prisma and database Postgres in order to test our controller code. So that's why we only spin up the server ourselves without using any Docker Compose. We are spinning up by just running the start server script. So with our Jest command, we can see we run the test called source test and then server.test. So our server.test, we just spinning up our server by starting the server and then creating RCO's request. So we don't want to spin up our Docker Compose with server, with Prisma and with Postgres in order to test our controller logic. So how do we do next? So we want to have a way to mock the response of this function. This function is located in a service, so it is in Nexmo, component Nexmo and service. So we want to have a way to mock the whole file, and then specifying that I want to mock this function with some return value in order to avoiding direct database connection going to this function. And after that we can do as normal, we can do the call, we can check for NCCO, and then we can return the status. So after we pass this get leg request, we can actually check for the status. So how do we write the how do we write, how do we mock the modules? So by having Jest have a function called mock, and the first it is actually not giving me the right suggestion. So jest.mock, the first function is the modules where components and exmo and service. So we want to mock this, and then on return we want to return an object that have the function that we want to mock. So get leg request, and we will have to implement it as a mock function by returning some values. And I already copy some values in order to proceed. So we have the values of the leg, and then we have the role, we have the conversation, and then we have the legs, and we have specifying the full name of user A and user B. So over here we can extract the leg value, and then we can take some values depends on what are the roles. So we save this, and then let's try to see if now it will give me yarn.test. So it says one pass, two pass. So our test now passing. The first one is the smoke test, and the second one is the handle post answer. So we are already going through that, and over here we want to see what is the response structure. Maybe we want to check the response.data, and the easiest way is to just checking if it is matching the snapshot. So I'm going to do to match snapshot, and when I run this, yarn test and server.test.js, it is going to fail because I already add one snapshot. So I just need to also update the snapshot by running -u to update the snapshot. Okay, so now everything is passing, and I can also see the snapshot of the server. So here is the snapshot of the run, and here is the handle post answer. So by doing the mocking of the function jest.mock, and then we specify where is the module we want to mock, and we return the object with all of the function as a key, function name is a key, and we can provide the function jest.function. By doing this, we can actually mock everything within this service, and then in the controller, everywhere it is calling the database, accessing the database, we can replace it with a mock function inside here. We can also create underscore mock for and underscore, and then we can export cons this function this function inside the mock folder, and we don't have to write the inline return function, inline return object over here. So that's it for now. Until then, see you next time. If you like the video, you can subscribe to the channel to have more video. I'm going to post more often, and thank you for your time, and see you next time.